So we're going to do a couple of examples here where we're going to differentiate, but where the powers are a little bit different. So the first one here, I've got a square root. So before I differentiate, I'm just going to rearrange this, and I need to know something about indices or powers, that the square root can be written as the power of a half. Now, as soon as I know that, it becomes quite straightforward to differentiate, because I can go dy by dx. I've basically got 1 in front of in the x here, so I'm going to times it by the old power, which is a half, and then go x, and then take a half, take away 1, leaves me with minus a half. And that can be written as, there's the half, and that x comes to the bottom to the power of a half, which is the square root of x. So it's really more to do with understanding your power, the ideas with powers, and less to do with differentiation. So we're going to do another one here, and we're going to do the same thing. Before we start, we're just going to rearrange this one, and remember that if this is basically 2 over x to the power of 1, this becomes 2x to the minus 1. So when we differentiate this, we just multiply that minus 1 by the 2, which gives me minus 2. We take 1 away from the power. So we don't get 0. When we take 1 away, we get minus 2. And then that can be written as that minus 2 is on top of the fraction. The power minus 2 that we've got with the x, that sends that x down to the bottom without that. And if you're a little bit unsure about these square roots and the minuses, you really need to revise the laws about indices or powers. Let's have a look at 4 here that I've got for you, and you can pause the video and then I'll do the answers. Okay, so this first one, I'm just going to rearrange and make it y equals 2x to the minus 2, and then dy by dx can be minus 4, and I'm going to make that x to the minus 3, and the minus 3 sends that to the bottom and makes that a 3. Likewise, I'm going to rearrange this one before I start, even to do the differentiation, and this is x to the power of a half plus 3. That's fx rather, is that. And then when I come to differentiate it, it's going to give me a half, and then it's going to be x to the power of negative a half. The negative sends it to the bottom, so it makes it x to the power of a half, and that becomes a square root. 3, that's going to disappear. Okay, let's rewrite this fx here as x. This is the cube root, so that becomes x to the power of a third plus 2x, and then f dash x. We're going to have that as 1/3. And I know that when I take a third, take away 1 gives me negative 2/3, which means that it can be written as 1 over x to the 2/3. The 2x here simply becomes plus 2. And our final one, we can rewrite this as y equals, now that x is on the bottom, becomes x to the power of a half, but this time it's minus a half, plus x to the power of a fifth, and then we do dy by dx. And we're going to get x to the power of, well, it's going minus rather, let's do this, and then that's minus a half times x to the power of negative 3 over 2, but I'm going to put it on the bottom and make it 3 over 2, plus 1/5, and then a fifth take away 1 is negative 4/5, so I'm going to bring that to the bottom here like that. So there are all my answers there.